Having talked about the architecture of the network, we are now ready to look at the actual call flow. Note that the telephone on the left has initiated a call. By lifting the handset, the telephone on the left would have received dial tone from the central office on the left. Having received dial tone, the subscriber now dials 1-978-614-8100. Those digits are sent to the central office on the left. Having received the digits, the central office on the left now needs to process the call. However, the central office on the left knows that that call is not to a telephone locally connected. Because the call is not to a telephone that is locally connected, it means the call needs to go to the tandem switch. However, the central office is unable to communicate directly with the tandem switch, and so signaling has to be done through the SS7 network. The end office needs to signal the tandem switch to indicate that there is a call that needs to be processed by the tandem switch. Before the signaling is done, the end office also needs to reserve a circuit that is in the trunk between the end office and the central office and the tandem switch. So when the signaling is sent through the SS7 network to the tandem switch will also reserve the same circuit. Therefore, the two switches, end office on the left and the tandem switch, now has the same circuit reserved. Please note, this circuit, TCIC, trunk circuit, inter circuit, is number 18 and is not being used for voice at the moment. It is simply reserved. Now, the tandem switch will receive the information from the STP network. That information will include the numbers that were dialed. This tandem switch will look in its database, recognize that the numbers that were dialed are for the end office on the right. In order to communicate with the end office on the right, the tandem switch needs to send signaling through the SS7 network. The signaling is sent through the SS7 network. Before the signaling is sent though, the tandem switch will reserve a circuit between the two switches. This circuit that is reserved will also be communicated through the signaling that goes via the SS7 network. Having received the information from the SS7 network, the end office on the right will now reserve the same circuit. At this point, the tandem switch and the end office on the right both have reserved TCIC 124. The end office on the right will now look at the number that is received from the SS7 network. Based on that number, the end office on the right knows which subscriber is to receive the call. The call going out to the subscriber will be tested, and if it is idle, ringing current will be sent out to that subscriber. The subscriber, if at home, will hear the telephone being rung. At this point, while ringing current is leaving end office on the right and going to the telephone on the right. The end office on the right also needs to indicate to all devices to its left that it is currently ringing the subscriber. The signaling that is used to indicate ringing is a ring back tone. This ring back tone needs to be sent along the red lines going to the left. This will be sent from end office on the right straight back to the telephone that originated the call. However, remember, the circuits between the end office on the right and the tandem switch, and also between the tandem switch and the end office on the left, were simply reserved. They were not prepared to allow voice call. The ringback tone is considered the same as voice information. Therefore, the end office on the right needs to send signaling via the SS7 network indicating to the tandem switch that it must prepare the circuit to accept voice call. Therefore, at this point, TCIC 124 is prepared to receive voice call going in the right to left direction. Similarly, tandem switch needs to send signaling to the end office on the left via the SS7 network to indicate that it must prepare itself to receive voice call. This is the dotted blue line leaving the tandem switch and going through the SS7 network to the end office on the right. On the left, sorry. That end office on the left, having received the ringback tone, will then forward that ringback tone to the telephone that originated the call. That is the telephone on the left. At some point, the subscriber on the right will answer the telephone. Having answered the telephone, the end office on the right now needs to indicate to all devices to its left that they should prepare their network to send voice call from left to right. Therefore, the end office on the right will send signaling via the SS7 network to the STP, then from the STP to the tandem switch. The tandem switch, having received that signaling, will prepare itself to send voice call left to right. The tandem switch will also send signaling via the SS7 network to the end office on the left, advising that end office to prepare itself to send voice call in the direction left to right. Once that is done, the caller on the left can now speak, and that audio will be able to get to the caller on the right.